What's up, guys? Welcome back, JCcycles. I'm Josh. That's Courtney. So, as many of you probably have seen, we are, well, not done, but we were able to get the WangSport to its current state. And we just got back from Sturgis yesterday or the day before, so we're kind of unwinding, unloading the van, getting things out. We'll be getting a lot of questions and messages concerning the bike and what it is, even though we tried to explain that throughout. We'll go over it again and kind of like explain what it is, kind of what we've done. All right, so in this video, we'll talk a little bit more about the bike and what all has been done to it. But so stick around, and before we get into that, we would like to thank the Wango Tango Show and Joe and the Buffalo Chip for having the event that kind of sparked this. There is a video of when we first heard about it on Instagram, and immediately knew we had to be a part of that. So we'd like to shout out those guys, and we really do appreciate it. Also, shout out TPJ Customs for help with the fabrication and framework fabrication. 209's Finest for the powder coating. Blinkystriping for the kick-ass pinstripes and designs that he came up with. Yeah, so let's get into a little more about the bike. All right, so we'll kind of do a walk around tour of the bike, I guess, so that you can see a little more of what it is we're talking about. But we'll take a look at just the front for this point. As you can see, I guess we'll start at the front. At the front, we have a Harley 13-spoke mag wheel, dual disc Brembo brakes from the touring model, 2000 39mm FXDX or DXT Tsport adjustable front forks. We got 11.8-inch floating rotors on the front, Harley style cafe fairing. And all the powder coat on this bike was done by 209's Finest. If you look them up on Instagram, out of I think Riverbank, California, Modesto-ish area, I want to say. Killer dude, killer work. Definitely hit him up. The framework, which you kind of can't see now that everything's together, was done by Brian at TPJ Customs. And Brian is a wizard with putting weird stuff together. So if you have an idea, hit him up. Really cool dude, super talented. I mean, as you can see. We got the battery in the stock battery box. We got the ignition switch where it would typically go. Factory DX, DXT, Tsport adjustable rear shocks. They're at a like 57 or 60 degree angle, just like the measurements we'd taken off of a DX prior to putting the bike together. Let me pop this bag off so you can see a little bit more. Oh, these are Leather Pro quick release bags. So in the back we have what was a new old stock fender that we had to trim a little bit for the swing arm clearance. And as you'll see here, we had to have some mounts made to mount the rear shocks on the Honda swing arm. So a lot of people think that this is a Harley Dyna that we just put a Goldwing motor and swing arm on. That's not the case. It's a little more complicated than that. The bottom half of this frame and from the front part of the neck, this is the original Honda neck that we cut here and put a 97 Dyna top half of a frame onto the Goldwing frame and combined the two. All right, it's hotter than Satan's nutsack in here, so we're trying to get this done. Bear with us. We got a Saddleman step-up seat, fits your like 9603 Dyna. In the back we have the Honda rear final drive, rear differential, so there's no belt drive, no chain drive. This unit right here goes into what is this 11-spoke Honda rear mag wheel. It's got a 140 tire on the back. We've got our brake master cylinder, and you probably have seen this, wondering what is that. That is a 4-into-1 thunderheader that Brian from TPJ Customs helped us put together. So basically both manifolds from either side, as you can see here, come into this one thunderheader muffler that we had Cerakoted. So it definitely sounds different. It's kind of V-Rod-ish. We'll start making some more videos in the future that'll kind of give more of the sound so you can see how it runs. It does have an open K&N air filter, and that pretty much sums it up for this side. I guess we'll move on to the rear, which has a Dyna LED turn brake light and turn signal light. We've yet to wire up the turn signal, so that's something that's left to do on the list. On here we got a DX Tsport tank with the fuel gauge that's got a special backlight in it from SDB. We'll tag them too online. They do all the gauges and backlights and different colors and some badass looking stuff. So the triple trees are from a 2022 Harley Davidson Sportster, because they have a 1/2 inch longer stem in there. So in the neck, the Goldwing uses 2 different size bearings, a larger one at the bottom and a smaller one at the top. And we wanted to make it to where, you know, down the road, all you got to do is order bearings for the Goldwing and put them back in there. So 2022 Sportster triple trees. These are, I think, 14-inch West Coast T-bars. These are 96 and up, 96 to like 10 or whatever. Harley controls with some shorty levers, just some black grips and mirrors. This is a crater fairing off of like Amazon or eBay. There's no way we were going to spend $2,000 or $3,000 on a fairing for a Goldwing. Like, that's just not an option. All right, so with the crater fairing, we got the chrome trim ring, kind of finished that off, and a black LED headlight. I mean, you can kind of see the radiator. We just painted it as best we could and put a slimmer looking fan in there so it was not so obvious. We still have a couple things to do on this. We got to get a professional to actually sync and balance the carbs. We installed the Randex carb kit and fully rebuilt the carburetor, so it does fire up and runs pretty good. I just want it to be dialed. So we're going to try to find somebody here locally that can get these all dialed in for us. And besides that, we've got to work on the routing of our coolant system lines and such. Yeah, I don't know if you can really see here, but we've got like kind of a rubber plug over this, a silicone plug. So the original, where you would fill the radiator in the Goldwing, sat too high and wouldn't allow us to put the tank on. So we had to cut it and relocated it to the other side. So that's going to need a little more configuring to get that dialed in, and then we should be able to really ride it, put some miles on it, and see how it is. Before doing this, we did some Googling. You know, you can pull up on Bikersnet or whatever. If you just Google 1981 Goldwing specs, it'll pull up a whole list of the specs on the bike. So what we did is we did exactly that, 81 Goldwing GL1100 specs, and then we also did like 2000 Harley FXDX specs to see what horsepower and torque numbers looked like, rake and trails looked like, weight looked like, all these things. And if you do the same, it's oddly close between the two bikes. I do know that the Harley motor makes 7 more foot-pounds of torque, but this motor makes more horsepower. So we haven't really been able to test it on the open road other than through some parking lots. So that's kind of the hope, is to see how it really feels, really handles. But the rake, the trail, the weight, a lot of the things between those two bikes are super close. So it should be a great riding, reliable bike. I mean, we were kind of going for best of both worlds, which is the reliability and smoothness of the Goldwing. And I think they look cool. But then also the looks and functionality of the Dyna, which I think is a killer platform. It's just, you know, as we all know, they're kind of prone to wobbling, and hopefully we've built the wobble-less Dyna. We'll see. All right, so on the front of the bike, you can see the LED black housing headlight that we put on. You can see a little bit more of the front end, the cafe fairing, the 11/8 floating rotors that are on there. And like I said, the powder coating was done by 209's Finest. Look them up on Instagram. And this killer artwork. And if you come back over here, you can actually see the rear shock mounts that were fabricated by OCD Fabrication here in Sacramento. Shout out Jason. Killer work, my dude. This one's really a awesome piece too. Blinkystriping came up with this on his own. It's the Harley bar and shield with the Honda wing. Then down here we got our little JC-Cycle emblem. And this is how you make another piece by OCD Fabrications. All right, guys, if you like this video, you like the bike, you like us, you like anything, or you don't, leave us some messages in the comments. It helps us out. We'd like to hear from you. Also, if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. We could use all the help we could get. And the more subscribers we get, the more likes we get, the more comments we get, the more it'll help us and be able to do this, more things like this in the future. We sure would appreciate it. We thank you all for watching. Thank you everyone that has helped with this, because we couldn't do it by ourselves. Thank you so much from JC.